In section 5.2, we're going to be talking about reflections. So reflection is really, we're just flipping the image now. In translations, we shifted the object. Now we're going to learn how to flip it over like a mirror. In question 1, point P has the coordinates 3, 4, and I want to know what are the coordinates when I reflect P over y equals 1. Now that's the notation that typically you're going to see for a reflection. And just to kind of break that down, when we see a capital R, that represents reflection. The little subscript below it will tell us the line or mirror that we're reflecting over. And then finally, that tells us what you're actually moving. Here we're moving point P. So let's sketch this out. We have point P at 3, 4, and I want to reflect it over y equals 1. And as we've talked about, remember y equaling a number is just a horizontal line. So let's draw our mirror. Now think about when you're looking at a mirror kind of preserves distance. So if you're close to a mirror, your reflection's going to look like you're close to the mirror too. If you stand far away from the mirror, your reflection looks equally distant away. So we're going to count to the mirror, and then we're going to count the same distance away. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 units to that mirror. Now I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 units away. And my new coordinate, P prime, is at 3, -3. And I'm done. Now important lines to remember when we're reflecting. Y equals any number, as we just saw, as a horizontal line. X equaling a number as any vertical line. Y equals X is this diagonal line going through the origin. The slope there would be 1 over 1. Y equals -X is the same deal, but now we're going down 1 over 1. And then finally, there's different ways that we could call the X and Y axis. Here I have highlighted as the X axis, and sometimes that's referred to as Y equals 0. I know that's kind of confusing. Write it down, you'll have it in your notes. On the other hand, we have the y-axis highlighted here. That is sometimes referred to as x equals 0. Those are like synonyms of each other. They're saying the same thing. In example number 2, now we have a whole triangle. I'm going to read that as saying, I want to reflect triangle ABC over the y-axis. So, as we know, the y-axis is this line right here. Same deal, we're going to count to the line and count away. Even though this line of reflection goes through the shape, that's okay, it's all going to work out in the end. Again, I just count to the line and then count the same distance away. So for coordinate A, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to count away again, 1, 2, 3. And I have A prime. B is kind of interesting. B is on the line of reflection, so it's actually not going to move at all. So B prime stays where it's at. Finally, for C, I'm on the other side of the mirror. I'm going to again count to the mirror and then count away. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then count again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have point C prime. Now I connect my dots and I have my triangle. Now a good rule of thumb here, if your line of reflection goes through the shape, your reflected image will be overlapped. And a good way to kind of visualize this, I don't know why, I always connect that to when you see like a gymnast on like a balance beam and they flip over it. I don't know. That's just kind of a way that you could remember, like visualize what's going on here. It's like flipping over itself. Finally, in example number 3, I want to reflect triangle ABC over the line y equals x. So here I have the line y equals x. And what's kind of weird about this, makes it a little bit tougher, if I try to start counting my coordinates, I kind of get stuck because remember, I can't count diagonally in a coordinate plane. So, to make our lives easier, there's a rule that we have for reflecting over y equals x. All that I have to do is flip the coordinates. So what I'm going to do is here now I have my coordinates for A, B, and C. A is at 1, -1, B is at 3, -1, and C is at 1, -4. Literally all I'm going to do is change the order, and that's it. So A prime is going to be -1, 1. B prime is going to be -1, 3. And C prime is going to be -4, 1. Now watch when I draw the new triangle, it looks like that's a reflection over that y equals x line. Another way you could visualize this, imagine that black triangle is like a stamp. I fold that piece of paper on that red line. My resulting stamp would be what that blue image is. Now, also, just to have it in your notes, we'll go over these a little bit more in class to do some examples, but if I reflect over the line y equals -x, I also have a rule for that as well, because again, I can't count diagonally. For y equals -x, I flip the coordinates and I change both of the signs. So for example, the coordinate 4, 3 flipped over y equals -x would be -3, -4. -9, 0 would be 0, 9. And -8, -10 would be 10, 8. And we'll stop there for now.